Is it possible to beat the OG Resident Evil 3 without reloading at all?
I'm good, but I'm not that good.
The short and simple answer to that question is yes, people beat it all the time, using only a knife. But what if you weren't allowed to use the knife because you were restricted by some self-imposed arbitrary rule? Could you beat the game without reloading then?
Fuck me.
So, for this challenge video, I'm going to do exactly that. I'll attempt to beat Resident Evil 3 without crafting, picking up, or using any ammunition items. I know the grenade launcher doesn't technically hold 6 rounds, but it comes with 6, so I'm going to use it at its default ammo, even though Jill is loading each shot. Also, I'll be playing this on American mode, the hardest difficulty around. Apparently the hard mode version of the US release is more difficult than the Japanese release. Nemesis dishes out more damage, while Jill's attacks deal less damage. And if it wasn't already difficult enough, Resident Evil 3 has so much RNG crammed into it, it's literally impossible to predict what's coming next. And that's not an exaggeration. This is known to be one of the most difficult games to speedrun. There are so many make or break moments in this game, like the hospital shelf puzzle. 23 years of playing this game, and I still have no idea how to find the solution to this puzzle. It's always just a guessing game for me. A sloppy strategy, I know, but it's exactly how the world record holders approach this same puzzle. It's a 50-50 chance on which side of the room it's going to be, and then another 50-50 chance on which corner it's going to be. Get it wrong, and you're not getting the record. With all the RNG, every combination puzzle has like 3 to 4 solutions at random, unpredictable weapon locations, random enemy spawns and attack reactions, and to top it off, the game introduces a live selection mechanic that really makes every playthrough a unique fuck show, which is exactly why you'll never catch me speedrunning this game.
Just so you know, I'm not into that pain is pleasure thing, okay?
Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy Resident Evil content. And if that's not enough, check out Dead by Donovan's Patreon page to become a member of the R-Retards. Links in the description below. Thank you Kyle, Kiera, Marco, Julia, E13, Brian, and Mark for supporting the channel. Okay, so originally this challenge video was going to see if I could beat Resident Evil 3 without taking a single step. Impossible sounding, I know, but I like a unique challenge. I discovered while making my Director's Cut Poison challenge video that the characters actually move a pixel or two while aiming their weapons. Jill could cross the playing area without ever taking a single step, which is not really exciting and hella boring. And even though I wasted a disgusting amount of time on it, I had to scrap the run, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I totally forgot about having to escape the hospital explosion. So I came up with this challenge instead, which, again in itself, is a challenge. Pretty much every challenge video you can think of for Resident Evil has been done before. So, whether the challenge turns out to be impossible or a dud, I'm going to make this video about it anyway, just to be the first to say I did. And heads up, I'm going to be giving a bunch of random facts about the RNG in this game and how it affected my run compared to the speedruns I watched. So, getting on with it.
Resident Evil.
The game begins with Jill trying to light a fart in the entranceway of her apartment building, where she is faced with her first enemy, the broken-ass dodging mechanic. Seriously, this dodge, like everything else in this game, is random. Absolutely no gamer has mastered it, and if they have, they're cheating. This dodge cannot be consistently recreated. Even if you're using auto-fire controllers or some friend's mom is giving it a shot, you cannot count on it. And I didn't have the patience to figure out all this stuff on my own, but I did find an awesome YouTuber called Waifu Runs that did all the work for the stats I'll be presenting in this video. He's calculated just how lucky someone has to be in order to set a new world record in this game. He's pretty much run into every room 50 to 100 times to deliver some accurate percentages on the RNG. I highly recommend checking out his content. For example, Jill has a 30% chance of successfully dodging this first zombie, which may or may not result in the zombie falling over. But whenever I play this game, 30% of the time, it never works all the time. Not even once while I was recording this video was I able to successfully dodge this zombie. But since I'm not restricting the use of healing items, it doesn't matter, so we're good to go. At the warehouse, I say farewell to the reload tool, the knife, and the great novelist Dario Rosso.
I'd rather starve to
death in here than be eaten by one of those undead monsters! Now leave me alone!
Jill finds Brad in the basement with a bunch of dudes. Dudes who all have the ability to go turbo at random, making this one of the worst areas to be in without a weapon. The zombies can stun lock you on the stairs with an endless stream of vomit.
Bruh. Oh my god.
But again, I'm using healing items, so this isn't that big of an issue yet. My real concern for this challenge is the George Michael Clock Tower fight with Stage 2 Nemesis. It is the most difficult, non-skippable boss encounter in the entire game. It will most likely consume all of my ammo from every gun that I've picked up at that point. So, I have to save every single shot for that one fight. Which is why I'm really thankful that this poor soul reloaded his shotgun after he blew his own face off with it. Thanks, bud. Depending on how generous the RNG gods are when it comes to spawning herbs, getting to the clock tower shouldn't be that much of a problem. On a previous run, I got nothing but blue herbs all around town, in a part of the game where there's pretty much no chance of ever getting poisoned. During my poison run of Resident Evil Director's Cut, I played RE3 for poison condition comparisons. I spent hours in RE3 just trying to get poisoned by drain demos, brain suckers, and sliding worms. Nothing would poison me before the spiders at the clock tower, so why in the frick are there so many blue herbs in the first half of the game? Editor's note. I finally figured out how to get poisoned in the city, and it takes a rare set of circumstances to achieve this. First, you have to encounter the elusive brain suckers, not the drain demos, and then you have to hit them with light attacks, like from the assault rifle or the pistol, and it'll immediately perform a spit attack, which may or may not poison you. I played through the opening half of this game 7 times just trying to get poisoned in the city, and the brain suckers only spawned on the map twice. Coincidentally, only on the runs where I obtained the grenade launcher instead of the Magnum. So, this could be another factor, keeping us from getting poisoned so early on. We definitely don't need all these useless blue herbs. Also, you'd think a creature named the Brain Sucker would do a lot more swallowing and a lot less spitting. And while we're on side notes, I discovered that both drain demos and brain suckers can lay eggs that hatch into little baby brain suckers. This too is an ultra rare occurrence. Both of these baby creatures are identical in character model, movements, and attacks. I left my game on for hours and had Jill babysitting these little suckers and discovered that they cannot deal a killing blow to Jill. There is no death animation from these creatures. Jill's HP will not fall below 1%. And speaking of wasting time, while I was doing my no-step challenge, I found out if you fuck around long enough in rooms with fallen survivors, eventually they'll get tired of being dead and become zombies. Maybe not the best find. I'm sure everyone who sucks at tank controls already stumbled on this, but I've never sucked at a Resident Evil game in my life, so it's new to me. Anyway, back to the challenge. After a second encounter with Brad at the bar Jack, or Jack's bar, or Jay's bar, whatever the kids are calling it today, there's a 12% chance that Jill's undead coworkers will break down this barricade extra early, which is exactly what happened to me. Jill does deserve all this bad luck though. She did just wait up in her apartment, eating old pizza and looking down on everyone she's ever known, dying in the streets. At the RPD, there's a 100% chance of Brad deep-throating Nemesis' stinky pinky, and as much as I'd like Brad's death to be in vain, I need to loot his corpse for that ID badge. I don't have all the passcodes memorized, and I can't afford to get caught in the RPD halls looking for Jill's badge while I can't shoot anything. So I'm gonna fight Nemesis. And I discovered if you wait until the very last second to hit select, the game will give Jill a free dodge, giving you space away from Nemesis to pick up that key card, without getting donkey punched immediately. Once inside, Nemesis is easily defeated. The door says pull, not push, moron. Seriously, it's not even locked. And what's embarrassing is the fact that zombies and hunters in Resident Evil 1 could actually use the doors. In the West office, I finally ran into some luck. Every single zombie decided to spawn in Marvin's cubicle, allowing me free passage in and out of this room, which will come in handy if Nemesis ever finishes fucking that doorknob. Also, why is Marvin faking being dead here? We all know he's alive and well in Resident Evil 2. Is he just avoiding Jill here, acting like a corpse, because he doesn't want her to say I told you so?
They risked their lives to reveal the truth, but no one believed them.
In the evidence lockup, Jill obtains the emblem key, which, upon further inspection, turns out to be the STARS key. How did she not immediately realize this was the STAR's office key? Did she only ever lockpick her way around the RPD? And about that, we're only here at the RPD to pick up her lockpick. Why is the supposed master of unlocking leaving her most important tools behind? I'm pretty sure she's forgotten these on every outing. Anyway, with some expert dodging, I was able to make it to the STAR's office, another room that is a make or break moment for speedrunners. There's a 55% chance of obtaining the grenade launcher, and for some reason, they hate the Magnum.
We get one reset, right?
But for us, none of this matters because I can't use any weapon until the clock tower fight. What does matter though is the herbs that aren't showing up where I need them to. On the way out, the zombies just disappeared from the stairwell. I wonder if they used the doors. And there's Nemesis with his rocket launcher. Thankfully though, the zombies are dancing on Marvin's corpse, so it's a free ride out of the RPD. In the shopping district, I tried getting Carlos to be a gentleman and kill Nemesis in the restaurant. I was thinking, if this run ends up being impossible, I'd allow the use of custom weapons dropped by downing Nemesis. So, the plan was to get the AI Carlos to down him once and collect the gun parts myself, but Carlos kept getting his ass beat and letting me down numerous times.
Someone should help that lady!
So, I scrapped this approach to Nemesis in the shopping district, and I know I could easily blow up that restaurant to obtain those eagle parts, but then I'd be stuck with a far more relentless Nemesis and no Carlos. And Nemesis would cover the entire shopping district. By moving this encounter to the press office, I could easily escape the building, get some distance, and avoid those surprise attacks. And in doing this, all the zombies in the shopping district alley will disappear, but only as long as Nemesis is stalking you. Upon returning to the restaurant, the place will be filled with zombies, but they're not too much of a problem, and if they're lucky, they'll get a piece of that Jill sandwich. And with that, it's off to City Hall, which luckily has doors, so that should be the end of Nemesis for now. And speaking of luck, I'm glad I didn't stream this with my cam because Nemesis waiting off screen to smash my face in after going turbo was probably the scariest scare of the game. Thankfully though, he can't follow us into City Hall, which is literally just a hallway in the city. And check this out, Japanesey? I wonder who made this game. Definitely not Americans. At the cable car, you can get either dogs or zombies. At first I had dogs, but then I tried to deface that racist statue of Michael Warren at City Hall, and I was killed by zombies, resetting the RNG for the cable car entrance, and I got a horde of zombies the second time. That turned out to be easier than the dogs. As for my return to the statue, I let the zombies break loose, and then I immediately left the room, allowing them to calm down and spread out. And then fast forward a whole bunch of nothing until I reached the power station, where I finally got to kill some zombies and obtain the grenade launcher. And outside the station, Nemesis let me down by not killing these zombies with a rocket launcher, causing me to take damage as I plowed through them. Then, at the pharmacy, I got to witness Carlos brutally murder Murphy Seeker in the most inhumane way possible. Shit, I've seen cartel gang executions show more mercy than that. Even Nikolai had more compassion when it came to killing his own. Embarrassed, he just ditches me, leaving me to fend off all the zombies he attracted. Now, heading back to the cable car, with all the parts I collected, I ran into Nemesis a few more times, but he was easily avoidable because he's left-handed. Yep, thankfully there's no RNG on which hand he'll smack a bitch with. The second to last obstacle before reaching the clock tower is the Gravedigger fight, which is stupid easy without weapons. Just flip the switches and leave, but don't flip the first one too fast or the creature will beat you to the next one. Just flip it as soon as you see the tip, and then quick 180 out of there. It if you thought that Gravedigger strat was easy, wait until you get a load of this. Originally, when I first conceived this challenge, I thought it would be impossible, with the train fight, followed up by the clock tower fight, and another Gravedigger fight, on top of the last 2 bosses. There's no way I could have enough ammo. But then, I remembered, you can just nope the fuck out of this cable car, leaving me Kyle to deal with them. And with that, the challenge was back on. I rejected Carlos's freeze rounds and acquired the mine thrower, which completes my available arsenal for the clock tower fight. And depending on how the Dead Factory goes, I may or may not be needing the rocket launcher. At this point in the game, Jill has 15 handgun, 7 shotgun shells, 6 mines, 6 magnum, and 6 grenade rounds, leaving her with a total of 40 shots to get through 4 boss fights. And I haven't even reached the hunters yet. After solving this fucking clock and balls puzzle, seriously, fuck these balls and fuck this puzzle, I downed Nemesis with the power cable on the tower and collected the Eagle 6.0 parts, just in case this run ends up being impossible. At the fight, Jill was finally able to bust her nut, shooting everything she had into Nemesis. But not before he unloaded into Jill first, all over her face. So, at this fight, it's really easy to get Nemesis hung up on the corners of the stage, but first you have to get him to waste all his rockets. Just do a little dance until he's spent, and then just run laps around this planter until you get enough distance to hug this corner. Nemesis will get trapped, allowing you to fight him without ever taking damage, and if he ever breaks free, just repeat the process. Since this is the most action this challenge run has seen so far, let's play this fight out in its entirety. Obviously, this strategy can be executed much better. Really, anyone can successfully pull this off, even with just a knife, while taking no damage at all. You just have to be mindful of how many shots you take. After about 3 or 4 shots, you should be repositioning yourself closer to the wall, especially when using the knife. Making attacks like this so close to the boundary will cause Jill to be pushed away from the wall slightly with each shot, allowing Nemesis's pathfinding to finally break free and make an attack. Same thing goes for firing slow weapons like the grenade launcher that can cause him to dodge and break free. And I know how sloppy this fight looks, you don't need to tell me. I just got a little trigger happy here because of all the lead blue balls I had up to this point, and I don't know why I thought I would attempt this fight more than once. It's not like I had a shortage of ammo here, but I like a challenge, so future Jill can deal with these consequences of these missed shots and herb uses here. And I apologize for the painful inventory load times and camera angle changes. I'm playing this on a PS3, if you already couldn't tell from the shitty quality. So, showing a little hesitation here. At first I thought I didn't want to overkill him with the heavier weapons, so I went with the handgun. But then I remembered it's not the firepower that I need to finish the game, it's the ammo count. So I switched back to the heavier hitting weapons for this fight. You'll probably never catch me running this game on a PC, especially for these challenges. And I know the games look way better, but I don't like how the interactive objects are transparent for some reason. Plus, the PC version of this game is easily manipulated, and for some reason, the entire speedrunning community has decided to allow the use of modded runs for this game, allowing players to obtain the grenade launcher 100% of the time at the RPD. They claim this mod doesn't affect any other aspect of the game, but to me that's still cheating, and how would you know if they weren't running a different mod? I've found people who've completely rigged the RNG in this game to always work in your favor. So how can you trust their runs? For this run, you've gotta believe me, because I've been playing like shit the entire time. And all it took was 7 handgun, 6 shotgun, 6 nades, and 6 mines, and 1 magnum round for Nemesis to take the hint. leaving Jill with only 8 handgun and 5 magnum and a bun in the oven to finish the game.
I'm okay. Don't feel any pain. But that's what bothers me.
I know what you're thinking. 13 shots, and more than half of them are pistol to finish the game? This can't be possible, and that's exactly what I was thinking. But then I discovered a trick to the gravedigger that'll come in handy. But for now, it's time to play as Carlos as he searches nearby for a coat hanger to abort that unwanted Nemesis baby. Armed with only a 100% fully loaded assault rifle, whatever that means, and 15 rounds in the SIG Pro, which is also 100% fully loaded. Unfortunately, these weapons cannot be passed off to Jill, but I'm still going to conserve as much ammo as possible in hopes of dropping Nemesis one last time, just in case I need that custom gun. Anyway, the entire hospital segment was surprisingly easy. I managed to do it all in one shot, taking minor damage. I lucked out with the Hunter Beta's spawns and managed to avoid all the ones I kept alive. The only problem was, Carlos couldn't find that coat hanger, so he decided to read up on some medical journals and figured he could synthesize his own vaccine for a parasite virus which he knew little to nothing about. Shit, if Project Warp Speed could do it, why couldn't a grunt who speaks English as a second language perfect a vaccine without any trial runs? Seriously, this is more impressive than anything Rebecca Chambers has ever pulled out her ass. It's just too bad he only makes one dose. Back at the clock tower, Carlos takes on Nemesis, which turned out to be easier than facing Stage 1 Nemesis. Even in Carlos's poor condition, just run to the opposite side of his attack, quick aim for 2 seconds, and repeat. You should never ever take damage at this fight, and dropping him here should make it a lot easier for Jill to drop him. After Carlos treats Jill for Nemesis's STDs, it was time to fight him again, but this time, Jill didn't have enough ammo to drop him. I know it seems like I'm wasting magnum rounds for handgun rounds, but it's not the firepower I need at this point, it's just the ammo count. Unable to get more bullets, I kept on with the 13 I had and said goodbye to the Eagle 6.0 forever. Outside at the park, I was blessed with 0 grandma hunters showing up. I did, however, get stuck with these beta hunters where I normally only ever got dogs. An unwelcome surprise that ended up costing me ammo on shots that I completely missed. But because I like a challenge, I kept on to see if I could do it with even less ammo. And at the cemetery, don't even get me started on this. These fucking zombies just crawl out of graves for no reason. What is this? I thought this was an infected zombie outbreak, not an undead supernatural zombie uprising. This has no place in Resident Evil. This is, and always will be, stupid and lore-breaking, which is probably why Paul Thomas Anderson felt the need to include it in his film. Of all things to take away from this, you take this. So, we're finally at the Gravedigger fight round 2, where you can simply kill this chode with just 2 shots from your handgun. Yeah, just avoid it as much as possible. Eventually it'll completely emerge from the ground to perform an attack that will cover the entire playing area until it hits Jill. But again, this isn't a no damage run, so I just take the hits. After the 3rd attack like this, it'll cause the lampposts around the puddle to loosen up. 1 shot to each lamppost and they'll drop in the water. Then just get out of there until the camera angle changes and the Gravedigger will be dead. So, in killing this, combined with my 2 wasted shots, I'm left with just 8 shots for the last 2 boss fights of the game, which I was totally not prepared for. At this point, I had no idea how to approach the Dead Factory. Last time I played this, I got stuck with beta hunters in the dirty pool, which would be a huge problem for this run if I needed to do some backtracking to get the rocket launcher. So I made the decision to pass up on that weapon and jump off the bridge during the live selection event. Doing this meant I would only have to pass through the dirty pool room once, and meeting Carlos in the sewer meant he would clear that room of any enemies. Now, I don't know if this game has adaptive difficulty like other survival horror games out there, but it sure does feel like it. This game has been going easy on me ever since I was repeatedly gangbanged every step of the way here. At the dirty pool, all I got were some slow-ass zombies that never even got in my way, and upstairs, nothing but zombies, and talk about butt zombies. And this left me with just one last hurdle, the final Stage 2 Nemesis fight. I only had 8 rounds left, and I could have sworn that Nemesis could trip these acid valves on himself, just like in the cutscene. But no, I couldn't get him to trip any of them, so I had to shoot. But I couldn't afford to shoot at Nemesis. I've done this fight many times, and he's just as much of a magnum sponge as that giant-ass snake from RE1. So I had to aim for the valves, which would have been a lot easier without auto-aim, and without this dodge mechanic finally deciding to work all of a sudden. Even when I'd manually aim, I'd still miss. I was wasting rounds left and right. I thought I was gonna lose, so I began taking acid baths, trying to lure Nemesis into position, and thankfully, I guess, Mama had a baby because his head popped off. This is a good sign. If I could just get him to take one more golden shower, it would be all over. With only a minute 30 left, I had 1 magnum round remaining. I couldn't afford to miss. I couldn't afford Nemesis not stepping into that piss. And, to my surprise, I actually hit the friggin' valve. I was out of healing items, but I had to step into the acid. And by some miracle, this actually worked, and attracted Nemesis to his death. With the challenge pretty much complete, I just had to escape the facility, but with 0 bullets and no hunters around, I figured I should pick up that rocket launcher, just in case. And you'll be glad I did, because I got to blow up Nikolai just in time to virtue signal my support for Ukraine. Now, at the last room, I'm pretty sure you don't even need to fight Nemesis Stage 3. You can just wait around until the rail cannon kills him and dip out, but I rocketed the shit out of him anyway. In the end, Barry showed up for no reason to save Jill, as usual.
Yeah.
And that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if it isn't too much to ask, please share this video with anyone interested in Resident Evil content. I've basically been banned from every Resident Evil community for my controversial theories and opinions, which I'll discuss in full detail in a later video titled My Most Controversial Resident Evil Theories That Have Gotten Me Banned from Every Resident Evil Community. So stay tuned for that. Also, I'll be posting my Resident Evil Apocalypse book review soon, as well as more Resident Evil board gaming videos. So follow Dead by Donovan and check out my Patreon for more updates and content. Thanks, bye.